25.16 is one of the more interesting patches that we've seen in a while, as 4 of the meta junglers are being nerfed. Nautilus and Sylas jungler getting buffed, and is AD Mordekaiser now going to be viable? With 26 different champions being changed, we have got a ton to cover in today's video, so let's get you guys completely caught up to speed with everything that you need to know for when 25.16 drops this upcoming Wednesday, August 13th. And it is no secret that League's ranking system is designed to trap you. It literally pulls you in with all those games where everything clicks and you carry hard, only to balance it all out with the frustrating matches that feel unwinnable from the very start. And this cycle keeps you in the grind, hoping for change, but never quite breaking through it. Now, what most players don't realize, though, is that escaping this cycle requires specific skills and specific strategies tailored to your exact rank. And that is where skill cap comes in. We are the only service in this industry that has invested millions of dollars into identifying what actually works at every single tier. Our challenger coaches have mapped out the best and most useful strategies that turn hard-stuck players into consistent climbers, and you can access all that expertise for less than $9 a month with our annual plan. And now we're so confident in our method that our business model depends on your success. Climb at least 5 divisions while actively using skill cap, or claim a full refund, no questions asked. So stop wasting time on the ranked treadmill, man. Start climbing today with proven strategies designed specifically to break through your current rank. Check us out by clicking the link in the top right corner or in the description below. And with all that being said, let's get into it. There is just one item receiving a buff for this patch, and it's experimental Hexplate, with its passive attack speed going up from 30 to 50% and passive movement speed being increased from 15 to 20%. Baron is going to be adjusted for a second patch in a row, as its health regen per minute is going down from 1.875 to 0. The health that Baron gains per minute is going up from 180 to 190, and base health is seeing a boost going from 11,500 to 11,800. So moving on to all of the champion buffs, first on the list is Brand. Brand is going to have his passive monster damage increased from 240 to 260%. Q stun duration is up from 1.5 to 1.7 seconds, and R cooldown is going to be lowered by 10 seconds at all ranks. Gnar is getting a pretty nice early game buff, with his Q cooldown dropping by 4 seconds at rank 1, but it's going to stay the same at max rank. Riot totally missed the mark with the Illaoi changes last patch, so they're buffing her for 25.16, with passive AD ratio going from 105 to 110%, and then passive cooldown is dropping from 20 scaling to 7.25 seconds to 18 scaling to 7 seconds. Kalista is receiving some pretty unique buffs, as her EAP ratios are going up, which is going to give Rageblade a little bit more strength on the champ. AD growth is up as well from 4 to 4.25. Master Yi is buffed in a way that's going to make Kraken Slayer and Terminus stronger on him, as his Q is now going to generate stacks for both items. Morgana's W damage is going to be buffed, with the base being increased from 12 scaling to 56 to 14 scaling to 70, and AP ratio going from 17 to 20%. So definitely more of a buff that's going to help out Morgana jungle and mid lane, as you max W out first when playing her in those roles, whereas with support, you don't max it until second, or some players even like maxing it third. Nautilus jungle is looking to make a pushback into meta for 25.16, as his E is going to receive a boost to its damage to monsters. Qiyana is buffed for this patch, with her Q base damage going up by 10 at all ranks, and W bonus attack speed is being increased from 5 scaling to 25% to 15 scaling to 35%. Rek'Sai is getting a base stat buff, with her base AD being increased from 58 to 62. For the longest time, there's been a bug where Singed Q deals less damage if you're playing with him on red side, but that bug is now going to be fixed for 25.16. Q debuff refresh rate is also going to be down from 0.5 to 0.25 seconds. AD Sion is going to be buffed, with his passive base health cost per tick being lowered. E armor reduction is being increased from 20 to 25%, and R bonus AD ratio is seeing a boost, going from 40 scaling to 80% to 60 scaling to 120%. Jungle Sylas is looking to make a comeback for 25.16, as his passive is now going to deal 150% damage to monsters. Zyra is going to be receiving 2 buffs, with E cooldown dropping by 1 second and R damage going up from 180 scaling to 350 to 200 scaling to 400. Moving on to all the champion nerfs now. The first meta jungler getting hit is Jarvan, as his armor growth is going down from 5.2 to 4.6. Lulu has been nerfed multiple times this season, but has never fallen out of the meta in solo queues, so Riot has another round of nerfs for 25.16, as her E cooldown is going up from 8 flat to 10 scaling to 8 seconds. E damage takes a hit, being reduced by 10 at all ranks, and then E shield is nerfed as well, dropping by 10 base, and AP ratio is going down by 5%. 2 nerfs are on the way for Nocturne, as his armor growth is going down from 4.7 to 4.2. Q bonus AD is being lowered from 20 scaling to 60 to 15 scaling to 55. Rell W shield is going to be nerfed, with her max health scaling on the spell dropping from 13 to 11%. Riot has 3 nerfs lined up for Shaco, with his passive bonus AD ratio dropping from 30 to 25%. Q bonus AD ratio is going down from 65 to 60%, and Q cooldown is going up by 1 second at all ranks. Trundle has been the highest win rate jungler in recent patches, so he's finally getting nerfed, with his W attack speed going down from 30 scaling to 110% to 30 scaling to 90%. W cooldown is going up from 16 scaling to 12 seconds to 18 scaling to 14 seconds. Xin Zhao is going to be losing some early game power for this patch, with base health dropping from 640 to 620, and Q damage per hit being reduced by 5 at all ranks in the spell. Yuumi is being nerfed yet again, and this time it's her Q empowered damage taken a hit, going from 80 scaling to 380 to 80 scaling to 355. W heal and shield power is going down from 5 scaling to 15% to 4 scaling to 8%. And then W on hit heal is dropping from 3 scaling to 11 to 3 scaling to 7, while AP ratio is down as well from 4 to 3%. Some hybrid builds may become viable on Mordekaiser for 25.16, as Riot's going to be giving him a 120% bonus AD ratio on his Q. Spear of Shojin is going to be the one item that we're really going to be keeping a close eye on, as that's the one that's going to have the best chance of becoming viable if this buff is significant. Rumble has always dealt less damage to champions if you played him on red side, so that is going to no longer be the case in 25.16. Max Q damage is now going to take 3.5 seconds to register instead of the normal 3 seconds. Q will now deal damage to untargetable enemies if they're already debuffed. Q will now deal damage to enemies 700 units away if already debuffed. Q damage per 3 seconds is going down, with AP ratio and max health damage dropping. R zone duration will now be consistently 4.5 seconds across the entire zone, and R zone will now be more responsive. Riot's trying to push Varus away from lethality and towards on-hit builds for 25.16, as his Q max damage is going down by 10 at all ranks. W on-hit damage is up from 6 scaling to 30 to 6 scaling to 38. E damage is being lowered from 60 scaling to 220 to 60 scaling to 180, while bonus AD ratio drops from 100 to 90%. Riot has a bunch of adjustments lined up for Viego, which aim at reducing his power in the jungle while buffing him in the solo lane. Attack speed growth is going down from 2.5 to 2.25. Q damage is up by 10 at all ranks. However, Q bonus monster damage is dropping from 15 down to 0. Q crit multiplier is going from 100 to 75%. Q mark minion healing is being increased from 50 to 100%. Q mark monster healing is down from 145 to 125%, and then Q mark champion healing is up from 135 to 150%. We've had Warwick in the OP tier for both top and jungle recently, so Riot has a few changes planned for 25.16. Base AD is going up from 60 to 65, but passive on hit damage is being lowered though, from 12 scaling to 46 to 6 scaling to 46. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if Trinity Force ends up having any viability on Warwick now, as the Spellblade passive scales off of base AD, and a 5 base boost for Warwick is pretty dang big. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in Skillcapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. A complete look at every single one of the changes that's going to be hitting live servers this upcoming Wednesday, August 13th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.